with that.
Yeah, so then if people choose to do crack cocaine and therefore your kids don't have a dad around, that's your own choice. If you choose to commit crimes and you're in, that's your own choice.
Yeah,
but no other community has had this problem. Why is Black America have this problem?
I think there's a direct link between the industrial complex and incarceration.
Well, but how does one get to...
And the profiling African Americans.
Well, hold on. But first of all, it's not a profiling when it comes to that. Blacks are far more likely to commit crimes than any other group associated. It's like 3 to 4 times more likely. It's not even close. So how is that?
Well, I'm not here to debate numbers because I don't have the numbers.
It's okay. When you get home, you can look at it. Black Americans are 13% of the population. They commit 55% of the crime.
Shalom, shalom. I hope you all are doing well. I am blessed, and I'm back again with just a quick video. I want to start out by saying I had no intentions of doing a video about Charlie Kirk, because honestly, I never really paid attention to him. But as I began to do my own due diligence and study up on who he really was and what he stood for, I found a lot of sketchy things that need to be addressed. And the first thing I want to talk about is what he said in that first clip. He said that Black people only make up 13% of population, but supposedly commit 55% of the crime. Now, when you really look into that, the math doesn't make sense. Those numbers are based on arrests, not actual crime. And we know that our communities are overpoliced, unfairly targeted, and given harsher sentences, which skews the statistics. Meanwhile, crimes like fraud, corruption, and other white-collar offenses, mostly committed by white people, don't get counted the same way. So when someone like Kirk uses these numbers, it's not truth. It's just pushing a narrative to make Israel look like criminals and savages, when really, it's the fulfillment of prophecy that we will be slandered and made a byword among the nations.
About 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
about half of all prisoners are Black.
Exactly.
So Blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders. They commit more arsons. They commit more kidnappings. For example, Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Okay, let's talk about it. These are obviously racist claims, but I will respond to them as if Charlie Kirk were a reasonable person.
Black Americans are about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes.
About half of all prisoners are Black.
Wrong. Just 38% of America's prison population is Black. That's according to the U.S. government. But it makes you wonder why Charlie feels the need to add an additional 12% to the Black prison population. Could it be because his bigoted talking points only work if he exaggerates? If Charlie were actually looking for the race that makes up half the prison population in the U.S., he'd look no further than white people at 57%.
Exactly.
So Blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Wrong. The word "so" is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
Exactly.
So Blacks commit more crimes.
He's saying "so" as in therefore, as in one could conclude, but Charlie knows he's lying. Even if he hadn't just lied about the Black prison population, Charlie is smart enough to know that correlation does not equal causation, but he's hoping that you don't know that. So he deploys the word "so" to make you think he's coming to an obvious conclusion.
Exactly.
So Blacks...
Instead, he's making an illogical, racist leap. Charlie knows that we don't have usable data about who commits crimes. It's impossible to have that data since so many crimes go both unreported and or unsolved. Charlie knows that we only have data about arrests and convictions. I'll come back to that data in a moment. What's painfully obvious is that Charlie Kirk isn't interested in understanding the statistics he so carelessly misquotes. He's interested in making bad faith arguments, something that becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested in honesty, he would have mentioned the other 1350 statistic. Yes, Black people are about 13% of the population, but make up 53% of all criminal exonerations. In fact, Black people make up 55% of all murder exonerations specifically. Black people are more likely than any other group in this country to be convicted of crimes they did not commit. And then people like you have the nerve to parade these stats around as though they prove something. The reality is that you probably know these stats, but you leave them out on purpose, because to bring that stat into this conversation would make some people think. And that's the last thing a person like you wants.
Yes, and you see, the way the system works is not to prove that Israel is more criminal, but to make sure we are selectively investigated, prosecuted, and convicted so that the nations can point and say, "See, they are the problem." But this is nothing new. Yahuwah already told us that it would be this way. He said his people would be slandered, mislabeled, and mocked wherever we are scattered. This is why we shouldn't believe any of these numbers or statistics. This is part of the curses that prove who we are. As the word says in Deuteronomy 28 and 37, "And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, where Yahuwah shall lead thee." He said among all nations. Even though Israel has been slandered and turned into a byword among the nations, the remnant still has to endure. This walk was never promised to be easy, but the Most High did say that if we hold on and keep His commandments, there will be deliverance. Our enemies may label us, the system may oppress us, and the world may mock us, but Yahushua reminds us, "He that endure until the end, the same shall be saved." The endurance of Israel is proof that no matter how much we are lied on, cast down, or oppressed, the Most High's promises are still true, and the kingdom will belong to His people.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Because of DEI, it begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? It almost creates thought patterns that are not necessarily, no one really cares when it's HR managers. No one cared when it was, just kind of paper shufflers or even engineers. But now when it's like, wait, hold on a second. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian?
Many people don't want to acknowledge that the black community are the chosen people, because let's get deep into this, because in reality, they have the knowledge that most people don't have. Like, the only reason why people know how to farm is because of the black community. The only reason why we have the music that we have today is because of the black community. There wouldn't be no rock or metal if it wasn't for blues and jazz.
Different people in power were trying to ruin the black community, and it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, I have this theory that, like, what if black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable?
Sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Because of DEI, it begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified.
So this goes beyond an insult. It exposes the deeply rooted contempt that the nations carry towards Israel. Instead of seeing the excellence and the resilience in our people, they question our worth and suggest we don't belong unless we're stamped by their approval. But Yah has already told us this would happen, and that we will be mocked, ridiculed, and treated as less than. Yet He also said the stone that the builders rejected would become the head of the corner. They may call us unqualified, but it is Israel who carries the covenant. And it's Israel who endures the curses, and it's Israel who will inherit the promises. Their words don't define us. Yahuwah's word does.
Black America shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. 4,000 black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
If that's your explanation, but I guess
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been
that affected
in the last 80 years.
The generational psyche of an entire group of people?
Well, I'm sure it did. I'm not discounting that. I'm just shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad.
But I don't know, the more I learn about black history and the ways that you know, people who literally worked in the government, like the CIA, all these different people in power were trying to ruin the black community. And it makes me think, dude, I feel like, is there something more going on here than just racism? Because it's like, come on, you're telling me you're doing all of this stuff just because you don't like someone's skin color? I feel like, what if, I have this theory that, like, what if black people have some type of superpower? Like, what if they have, I don't know, if they're just born with something very valuable that we don't really know about, but maybe, you know, like I said, these people, these rich people and these people in power, maybe they figured it out a long time ago, and maybe that's why they were like, oh, we have to, like, get rid of them, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, I feel like maybe they have something special that we are not taught about.
And I've never been so pissed in my whole life. They just murdered Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh damn it. Use the freaking words as they're talking to you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving down a Provo right now. I'm so pissed. Damn it.
Oh my gosh, this is a lot.
Oh shit, I've never been so pissed in my.
Time for a quick Bible verse. Genesis 12:3 says, "And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that cursed thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed." This is one of the foundational scriptures showing that there are consequences for how the nations treat the true Israelites.
Gang violence. Now, why was he mentioning gang violence? A person was questioning him about mass, and the person was asking about, you know, well, how many of these people have been, you know, transgender, and so he responded about, well, you know, other as well, including, I think he said something about gang violence. You know, he was trying to include gang violence in it. And anytime Charlie Kirk talks about gang violence, he's not talking about Hispanic gangs, Asian gangs, white gangs. He's always talking about us. So the moment he said gang violence, that's when he was sniped. And so his final two words that he spoke was gang violence. The final words. All this time, this man has been speaking about us and lying on us and propagandizing us, worrying about us. And he never spent his life worrying about his own community. I would tell you folks, because I know you're listening, you're here. I know you're here tonight. You got a problem. Now, you're going to try to say, oh, it's because the liberals are hateful, and the liberals are this and the liberals are that. Because this is what the liberals do. Look what they did to Trump. They tried to do it to him twice. Look what they did to Trump. It's just the liberals. Y'all always play this liberal thing and conservative thing. Listen, it don't matter if you're liberal. It don't matter if you're conservative. Y'all love that. Y'all got a problem in your community. You have a lot of anger in your community. It's a lot of anger. A lot of anger. Oh, my God. The crash out videos that I saw today. And this one video, this one lady was crashing out. I said, man, is she acting or what? They are crashing out, y'all. They crashing out about the Charlie Kirk thing. They really crashing out. Listen, it's white on white violence. Y'all, we got to talk about this tonight. Y'all need to leave black people alone. See, the problem is you worry so much about black folk, you're not worried about your own community. Your community got a problem, and we not your problem. Listen, we not in Utah. We don't have nothing to do with Utah. Listen, black folks wouldn't hurt a hair on Charlie Kirk's head. The worst that black folks would do to Charlie Kirk if they saw him, if they even knew who he was. A lot of black folks don't even know who he is, right? He's not like he's Trump or something. If they knew him, they probably say something slick to him. Maybe he get cussed out at the airport or something. Maybe. But black folks wouldn't be bothering with him because black folks look at him as just game goofy. That's it.
Y'all want to know what I find strange? Supposedly, this is the guy who unalived him. Charlie Kirk spent a lot of his platform spreading rhetoric that painted black people as criminals, thugs, and killers. Yet in the end, the very person who took his life was European. That shows you how twisted the narrative is. The same people who criminalize Israel are blind to the sins in their own house. This is why Yah said, "And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that cursed thee." Remember this, to everyone who's watching. When you curse Israel, that curse comes back on your own head. Him being unalived is proof that you cannot speak against Yah's people without consequences. Before I show this next video clip, I just want to tell you something. Just like in the days of Enoch, when the Most High commanded the giants to turn against each other and destroy themselves, Yah is still doing the same thing today. He takes the wicked those who lift themselves up in pride and spread lies, and he causes their own evil to come back on their own heads. They curse Israel, but in the end, they devour one another. That's why the word says, "Be not deceived, Elohim is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sow, that shall he also reap." The same way the giants were judged by being turned against each other, so are the nations who rise up against Israel. 1 Enoch 10:9-10 reads, "And to Gabriel said Yahuwah, Proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have, and no request that they make of these shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. So yes, the Most High sent the giants against each other in battle, and we see that same pattern playing out even now with the wicked people of this earth. Yah lets their own violence turn inward, so the very ones who spread lies and stir up confusion end up devouring one another. That's his justice. They curse Israel, but in the end, their own words and actions come back on their own heads.
Oh, this is just crazy. This is the guy that actually shot Charlie Kirk, debating with him just weeks before his death. Just horrific.
Hey, this guy just lies. Hey, no. He's a liar. So, okay. He can't debate, he just lies.
Okay, let's just
What,
calm
you don't
down
like
a little
freedom
bit.
of speech?
Well, I mean, you could say whatever you want if you want to make a fool of yourself, but we do have like 10-year-olds here and 11-year-olds, so can we have some decency?
Whatever.
Okay, you don't care. You're a typical leftist because you only care about yourself,
Who said I was
not
a
about the
leftist?
other people.
Who said I was a leftist?
Well, it's very clear by how you're acting.
Do you
to
even
say,
graduate college? You know,
no. In
this
fact,
guy didn't
I didn't go to college. I've been able to be pretty successful
You did
without
not
a 4-year
graduate
degree.
college.
Yeah, I did not go to
You're
college.
gonna come to college and act like you know.
So are we gonna debate resumes or ideas?
Ideas.
Most college degrees are meaningless, and most of you guys are being totally scammed by being here.
No.
Now, let me further complete the point.
So getting educated is a scam.
First of all, it's not always an education, and you are perfect evidence that you haven't really been educated. You are hyper hostile. You have no humility. You have very little wisdom about how the world works, and you come and you want so badly to be recognized and noticed, you came with your own bullhorn to cut in line someone who patiently waited to ask the first question. What have you actually learned at this institution, except that you're the center of the world and everyone must listen to you?
You go to countries, or you go to campuses and agitate people for like this exact scenario.
I sit here and ask questions. You're the agitator, not me.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah, correct. The students want another question, and I do agree with them because you embody the worst of this generation.
Are you looking in the mirror?
I do look in the mirror. You know what I see? I see a sinner that wouldn't act the way you do.
In conclusion, I want to point out that a lot of people call themselves Christians, but they don't truly live righteously. Saying you believe is not the same as walking in obedience. Real righteousness isn't about wearing a title or sitting in a church pew. It's about keeping the commandments of Yahuwah, walking in his statutes, and enduring until the end. Christianity has deceived many into thinking grace means lawlessness, but the word makes it clear. Faith without works is dead. So here's the difference. Those who truly belong to Yahuwah will be known by their fruit, by their obedience, and by their endurance, not just claiming a name. Just remember, family, Matthew 24:13, he that endures unto the end shall be saved. Things are ramping up, and you're going to see a lot more devastation and destruction taking place, simply because prophecy is unfolding before our eyes. That's why it's so important to come out of deception and walk in truth, because only those who endure unto the end will be saved. Thank you all for listening, and may the Most High keep you safe in this hour. And until my next video, Shalom.